Today we explore Martin Luther King Jr., an American hero, known for his nonviolent leadership during the Civil Rights Movement. He was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. He was super smart. He finished high school and started college at 15 years old. He studied and went on to be a minister in Montgomery, Alabama, with his wife, Coretta Scott King, and their 4 children. In 1955, Dr. King led a 381-day bus boycott after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man on a bus ride. This incident sparked the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement was a national effort made by African Americans to eliminate segregation and gain racial equality during the 1950s and 60s. Segregation is the enforced separation of racial groups in a country, community, or establishment. That bus boycott led to the Supreme Court ruling that segregated buses were unconstitutional, which meant they weren't allowed anymore. It was a major victory for the Civil Rights Movement, which proved that Dr. King's nonviolent method of protest was working. He became the face of the Civil Rights Movement. But life didn't get easier. In fact, he suffered more. He was arrested and put in jail almost 30 times. He was stabbed, his house was bombed, and both he and his family were constantly threatened. For a man whose message was peaceful, he suffered violently for what he believed in. He traveled over 6 million miles, wrote 5 books, dozens of articles, and delivered 2,500 speeches. His most famous speech came in 1963 during the March on Washington in front of 250,000 people from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech is iconic and one of the greatest speeches in American history. Later that year, he was named Time Magazine's Man of the Year. And the following year, at 35 years old, he would become the youngest person ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize. That same year, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, which banned racial discrimination. This was one of the greatest accomplishments of the Civil Rights Movement. The next year, in 1965, Dr. King led another march from Selma, Alabama, to the Capitol building in Montgomery, Alabama, which led to the passing of the Voting Rights Act, eliminating the remaining barriers for African American voters.
I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
This would be the last speech Dr. King ever gave, because the very next day, he was shot and killed. He was 39 years old, gone but never forgotten. His legacy lives on today. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a bill that declared the 3rd Monday of January as a national holiday to honor Dr. King, a man who changed the course of U.S. history, an American hero. We salute you, Dr. King. Our country is better because of you.